Anyway, if you're curious about like my problem with everything or nothing, I'll tell you this, it looks like it controls fine, but it doesn't. Like I was looking back at the first session we did, and it looks like it plays pretty smoothly, but it fucking doesn't. So here's the thing, I think it's the first of the 007 games to be third person, so that's already kinda weird. You can either crouch to move at a decent pace, or not crouch and fucking run at Mach speeds. There's no in between. It's like a slow crouch, almost. The crouch speed is not bad, it's like a walking speed, so I kinda prefer to do that over just standing up and running at full fucking speed somewhere. The lock-on is pretty bad. Yeah, I know, sorry I'm talking about 007 on a Modern Warfare 3 session. Anyway, I'll just try and hurry up and finish what I'm explaining. So, the lock-on is bad because there can be two guys, like one behind cover, one standing up right in front of you, and for whatever reason, it will aim at the guy behind cover who hasn't peeked out once, instead of the guy directly in front of you, out in the open, shooting the shit out of you. I have no idea how the targeting system works, but it's pretty fucking horrible. And the thing is, the targeting only targets what Bond is facing. So remember, it's third person. I can have Bond facing the camera, and I can have the camera facing the opposite direction of where Bond is looking at, and he will target shit behind the camera. Because again, targeting doesn't work where the camera's facing, it works where Bond is facing, and that's pretty fucking bad. Because I'm trying to run away, find cover, but I also do want to lock onto a guy, and I can't, because that's the way the targeting works. Only where Bond is facing. Which I think is really, really fucking bad. It's an original Xbox game, so... I mean, there's a lot of games that were just like, what the fuck are these controls? And I believe that's really the problem with the camera, is with the targeting. It's a problem of one being the issue with the other, but I guess it all just falls on the targeting being really fucking bad. The other issue is like back spawning enemies. I'll clear a room, I'll move up, and then suddenly there's two guys behind me. Like, what? I just killed everyone in this fucking room. Why are there guys spawning behind me? Because usually the next room has more enemies, so it makes no sense to spawn enemies behind you when you move to the next room. So that's another problem with that. I'm having to redo missions so many times. I don't mind the trial and error of it. Like, it's a little bit of a learning process to like learn where the enemies are and all that. But it's still annoying that it spawns enemies behind you as you move on to the next room. And that's not me missing enemies. I will kill everyone in the room, move up, and suddenly there's enemies behind me. So it's not an issue of me leaving people alive somewhere. I know. I fucking know, because I've had to redo the missions several times to learn them. I am playing on, there's only 3 difficulties, and I'm playing on the second difficulty, which there's Operative, Agent, and Double Agent. Which Double Agent is the most difficult, of course. Gabriel brought up a good point that it's probably like a thing where it goes from normal to hard to very hard, so it's not easy, normal, and then hard. It's probably like that. It's probably set up as normal, hard, very hard, so that might be another reason why I'm having trouble with it in general. I think those Bond games will come out, Agent Under Fire and Everything and Nothing will probably come out fully before you see Modern Warfare 3, so that's kind of why I'm explaining it already. I get pretty frustrated, so I don't think it's horrible, but I mean, like some people just don't enjoy anyone getting frustrated at all, so if you don't like that, sorry. But that game is really, really bad. And the thing is, if the targeting was better, it'd be a much better game to play. It's really just the targeting ruining everything. I don't even know if there's free aim, but I don't think the game controls well enough to actually use free aim, so that probably wouldn't help anyway. It'd probably cause less frustration, but then I wouldn't be able to kill anyone really, so there's that. So let's just say I'm having a nice, very nice break from Everything or Nothing with Modern Warfare 3. A much needed break. I've only done one session, it was maybe like an hour and a half of Everything or Nothing. But I have so much left to go of that game. Gabriel looked it up and it's like 24 missions left after I did like 4 or so. That sounds bad, but like each mission is like less than 8 minutes and you can probably do it in like less than 5. If you know what you're doing or you like the game. The missions are not long at all, but redoing them over and over because you failed is... ugh, that adds to the frustration. Bond games have always never had checkpoints, so yeah, it gets rough. There was one more thing where the camera was actually bad itself. Like on the 4th mission or something you fight Jaws, which it's a boss fight. It's in a very small room, and there's like these 4 poles he picks up and throws at you, and then the poles are like, have electricity shooting out of them after he takes off the pole. I didn't know it, but you had to stun him by like punching him to get him into it. And that's how you damaged him. You just do it twice and that's it. Easy. But of course, I didn't know that. So what I ended up doing before Gabriel looked it up was just kiting him around the room and not knowing what to do. Just trying to lead him into the electricity. And I did it once, but I got him into the electricity once before I found out what to do. And he just walked right through it. He didn't care about electricity until you stun him, so that was fun. But anyway, the camera was really bad there because it was automatically locked into him, but you still had like free aim sort of thing. But Bond was acting like he wasn't locked onto him, so it was a really weird issue. You got the effect of the locked on camera and Bond not looking at the guy. Which, by the way, the lock on is terrible in that aspect too. Bond doesn't stay locked on to the guy. When you lock on, Bond doesn't stay looking at the guy if you back up. If you press back, he will turn around fully. So that makes it a little bit more difficult to just like try and back up into cover while locking onto some guy, trying to keep shooting him as you get into cover, and it's just a whole mess. Bond fully turns around if you back up. Would much rather prefer if you locked on, you're locked on for good until you let go of it, rather than having this sort of weird pseudo free Bond that he can run in circles while you're locked on. Yeah, that was another issue I have with the targeting. But anyway, back to this. It's locked on permanently on Jaws when you're fighting him, but Bond doesn't lock on to him. It's only the camera. So you can like run around in circles just fine. But again, you're in this claustrophobic room, and as I was trying to run around, like trying to get him to run into the electricity before I knew what to do, there's 4 corners of the room with the electricity shooting out of it, and there's room to run behind the electricity, and that's what I was trying to do. But as Jaws would get closer and closer, the camera would shove me into Jaws, like I could not get away from him, because he had this like suck around him, this suck aura that just dragged me into him. It's an issue similar to like co-op games, like top-down co-op games, where one player tries to run one way, and another player tries to run the other way, and they get the camera zoomed out as far as they can, and then neither of you can move in any direction at all until you decide like one of you goes with the other one. That's kind of a weird way to do a boss fight, because the way it was happening there is like, as I was trying to get behind the electricity to get him to walk into it, the camera would forcefully push me into him, or he would suck me, I don't know what the fuck it was, and I would just end up getting electrocuted, so, So that was really, really bad, and since it was auto-locked onto him, I would be trying to see where he was, but Bond was always perfectly in the middle, and I couldn't see where the fuck Jaws was, because the camera was locked on, and it kept Bond perfectly in the middle of the screen all the time. I still have 24 missions of this shit to do. Let me remind you, Gabriel picked this, I wanted to play Nightfire. So, fuck. Man, Everything or Nothing is absolutely something. I'm gonna tough it out, I'm gonna play through it, try to get less mad, but it's pretty fucking frustrating. The other thing, I also just tried GoldenEye Rogue Agent, I think it's called. That game is something as well. It's first person, thank god, but the auto aim isn't helpful. You can't ADS, because it automatically throws a grenade, unless the gun has a scope, which kinda sucks. You can't get like a finer aim. And then there's the main issue of the crosshair being at the top of the screen. If you were to cut the screen horizontally into about 1/3 each, the crosshair is like perfectly on the line of the 1/3. I don't know why the fuck it's not in the middle of the screen, it's at the top of the screen. I'm pretty much looking at the ground, trying to aim at someone. That's pretty much what you're doing when the cursor is at the top of the screen. It's fucking, it's bad. So that's pretty jarring in itself. It makes it pretty awkward to aim. But honestly, I played the first mission and I would still rather play Rogue Agent than Everything or Nothing. I think that's saying a lot. Anyway, there's a nice little bit of a long talk about Everything or Nothing that I'm currently playing. I just had to let it out somewhere. I would not recommend it, as well as Rogue Agent, so... If you're just gonna emulate them, sure, go ahead. Maybe they'll be better with a mouse and keyboard if you can set it up that way, or a controller that isn't the original Xbox controller. I don't know. I have no idea what can make those games play better. other than fixing issues that are deeply rooted into the way they work, the games work, so I don't know if you can fix that. It's oddly fascinating how GoldenEye and Twine on the N64 can play a lot better than the later 007 games, at least maybe up until Bloodstone and the GoldenEye remake. It's astounding how badly those games play that came out after the N64, up until like the 360 PS3 era. It's absolutely baffling how bad they control. How did these games play worse than the ones on the N64? So at least maybe up until Bloodstone. I'm not saying the N64 games control badly. They might be a little awkward and they might turn people away, but I don't think the controls are terrible. If you think that, please go play N64 GoldenEye or N64 Twine and then give Everything or Nothing and Rogue Agent a shot. I assure you that N64 games play a lot better. I stand by that opinion. I fully back that claim up. Oh, that was... oh. I feel better. I feel better about letting all that out. Oh yeah, before I go, what could have possibly added to the frustration of Everything or Nothing, despite not liking how it plays, is that I've been wanting to play Crash Team Racing, the old one, on the PS2, or PS1 actually, before the remaster comes out next week. Gabriel hasn't had time to come over for like 2 or 3 weeks now, so he was finally over yesterday when we recorded Everything or Nothing. And I had been meaning to test Crash Team Racing, almost like Crash Bash, which I do like that game and not a lot of people do. I'm sad. It's like Fusion Frenzy, but with Crash characters and I think a lot less games, but it's still pretty fun. Anyway, yeah, I had been meaning to test Crash Team Racing. I didn't until like a last minute thing, like I was setting up everything to record when he was here, and didn't work on the PS2. The PS2 couldn't read it for whatever reason. It's just a problem I had with Xbox discs and PS2 discs. Over time, they just fuck up, even if they've been staying in the case. That really fucking blows. It's like not until like the 360 and the PS3 where I feel discs don't really fuck up anymore. Anyway, I remembered it was a PS1 game, so I stuffed it into my PS3, which I have a PS3 that doesn't play PS2 games, but for whatever reason it still plays PS1 games. Only released day PS3 consoles, I believe, or first generation PS3 consoles, play both PS1 and PS2 games, but the later ones only play PS1 games, which it's still nice. Anyway, luckily there it worked. I don't understand how the PS3 reads it, but not the PS2. The only issue we came across, I was charging the second controller for Gabriel to use while we like just took a break and ate or whatever, and I gave him the wireless controller that was charged from when I played Killzone 3. That thing was still like at full battery, holy shit. I played that like 2 months ago. So I took the controller that was still plugged in, that still needed to be charged. It had like 1 battery and yeah, it didn't have a good charge by the time we were like ready to play before it got any later. Yeah, we started the recording, started the game, and once we got into the game, my camera was inverted. Remember, the game's called Crash Team Racing. You need the camera behind you. Instead, the camera for me was facing my character, so it was backwards. The controls were also inverted, so I couldn't see what was in front of me, and I had a tough time going either left and right. You can go see it. I'm gonna make a part 0 with that footage. I wanted at least 30 minutes of Crash Team Racing, but instead I got like 49 minutes of useless footage that I will like condense down until at least like under 20 minutes, if possible. It might not even be like 10 minutes, to be honest. It's a lot of useless footage. Yeah, for whatever reason, the camera was just stuck like that no matter what I did. I got it off of that once. I got it back to normal once. But then I couldn't control the character at all. I have no idea what's up with that. Then I remembered I just bought a turbo controller for the PS4, plugged it in, controlled just fine. But once I started Crash Team Racing, it just didn't control anything anymore. So I have no clue what's up with the PS1 emulation. Because the wireless controller I was charging, the PS3 one, it would also like disconnect and just not reconnect at all once I started Crash Team Racing like every other time. There's something up with the PS1 emulation on PS3, so it's pretty janky with a plugged-in controller. I've yet to try it with 2 wireless controllers, but I'm hoping that does fix it so we can record it and still upload it. So yeah, what led to like maybe the other 15 minutes of frustration, I guess, I was like, fuck it, we'll just try Crash Tag Team Racing. Because I saw on my memory card that I had like saved files on it. Forgot I plugged it into the second memory card slot, so it didn't read it. And then we tried to play, and it got stuck infinitely loading. We sat there for like 5 or more minutes, and it just never loaded. So, all I wanted to do was play Crash Team Racing and I couldn't, and then we tried another Crash Racing game and it didn't work. Oh god, I also have Crash Nitro Kart, and that just could not be read either, so fuck me. We tried 3 Crash Racing games, 2 of them practically didn't work. God damn it. That's what I dealt with before recording Everything or Nothing. So I'm hoping when I go back to Everything or Nothing, I'm a little less frustrated. I'm also gonna try and have a better attitude about it. But goddamn, is that just a really bad game. I'm gonna keep trying with Crash Team Racing. I almost said Bash again, Jesus. But yeah, there's no time to order a new Crash Team Racing. I will keep trying to get that one to work. I need to buy like a disc buffing thing like Game Crazy used to have. I don't want my games to just stop working, damn it. Ugh. Anyway, that's enough. I've been talking like 10-15 minutes. I don't know how much I'll put in there. About 007 at the end of a Modern Warfare 3 session.